Welcome to our Facebook Live for The Good Fight. Right now we're talking to the one and only Kристин Барански, who of course plays Diane Lockhart on the series. Welcome, Kристин.
Thank you.
So you just got done with the panel here at TCA's. How was the show received in the room?
What was great about it is they were so invested already with the Good Wife that they had a springboard, and so many of their questions already were invested with a curiosity about characters or a character such as myself that they really knew already. And where was it going to go from there? You know, we were on the air for 7 years in The Good Wife, and so there was a lot of emotional investment in the writing and in the characters and in that legal world and in that moral universe. And so I thought that they were really engaged. I loved the questions. I loved the questions that they asked me, and I think we're good to go.
Awesome. So tell us where Diane is at when The Good Fight starts.
Well, it's a year after the famous slap, and so she's estranged from Kurt McVeigh. She's estranged from her husband because of that infidelity that occurred, and she's at the top of her game. You see her, actually, the pilot was rewritten. The very first scene will be her watching the inauguration of Donald Trump, and the next scene is Diane in the south of France looking for real estate. But the fact is, a year later, after The Good Wife ends, she, you know, gets herself back together, leading an independent life. She gets her firm back better than ever. She has 8 name partners on the wall, and she's ready to retire. You see Diane in an enormous conference room in the pilot saying, "I'm retiring, I have nothing left to prove." And, you know, I think she's going to spend half her time, her intention is to spend half her time in France in her vacation home, and then half her time in Chicago, maybe fighting for women's causes or doing whatever but she's going to, you know, she does not have to work as hard anymore. And then it's not even halfway into the pilot that that it all goes south. So it's a spectacular fall from grace, and that's where much of the drama of the pilot is her personal fall, as well as the fall of her goddaughter, who she brings into the firm, who just graduated from law school, and she's the daughter of this Madoff couple who orchestrate this Ponzi scheme. So yeah, there's a lot happens in the pilot. It's very dramatic.
So this is a real earned emotional response when Diane is all set to retire and then realizes she can't. Like, how do you get into that? She's been like fighting the good fight for so long. How do you explore that pain? Like, that is a huge change in someone's life, and then to get it taken away just seems terrible.
It was just the hardest work I've ever had to do on film. Indeed, it's like, what do you do when pretty much everything that defined you is taken out from under you? You have no job, your old firm won't let you back, you lose your money, it's been locked up, your assets are frozen, you've been told you have to sublet your apartment, you can't quit work, her marriage is on the rocks. It's what happens to people when they lose their foundation. And I think it's just happening at such an interesting time culturally that this pilot is that we're doing it, that we're showing it at a time when the country collectively feels that it's perhaps in free fall. We've just been through an election. No matter which way you voted, it still was a traumatic, shocking kind of turn of events in American history, and I think a lot of people are feeling unmoored, you know, psychically feeling unmoored and insecure. So we were actually shooting the pilot just before, during, on the day of, and days after the election. It was almost a surreal experience shooting this pilot, and I think the psychological journey of Diane and her goddaughter will reflect a lot of kind of the collective insecurity of people watching the show.
So you're coming home in a way, but it's to a slightly different cast of characters. How does that change the dynamic, and how does it feel for you?
I just think it's been such a graceful transition. I think Juliana carried that show for 7 years on her back so gracefully, and she passed the baton to me, and it's been a graceful transition. I feel, of course, after playing Diane for 7 years, I'm invested in the character. I'm comfortable with it. That said, within the pilot, her life goes through such a spectacular change that you see Diane in a way that you've not seen her before. And then she has to look for work and enter an entirely new workplace, not just a new workplace, but a workplace not only where she's not a named partner anymore, she's not the boss, she's walking in, she's one of the few white people at an all African American firm. So there's that. It's a shocking 180. And, you know, as an actress, it's fantastic because you want dramatic stuff. You want stuff to happen to your character. That's what makes for interesting acting, and you want to take your character places. So it couldn't be a better springboard. I mean, I think it was sort of a brilliant concept that the Kings had, and it came rather late in the game. You know, when I agreed to do this show, there was no idea for it. They just said, we want to do a spin-off, we want to do it with you, and I had a kind of career decision to make on one particular weekend. I had to decide between one job and another. And one was much more known quantity, and the other was like, well, yes, but I still want to work with the Kings, and if we can continue everything that was good about The Good Wife, why don't we do it? We have a fan base. We know that with great writing and great acting, we can come up with something really good, so that's where we are.
Awesome. So for the trailer alone, it's clear that you get to say some things and do some things that you weren't allowed to do in The Good Wife. How does that feel? Do you feel like it's more true to the King's vision, more true to real life for you?
Well, you know, without network constraints, I never felt terribly constrained on The Good Wife, because I think my character, she's a rather elegant, well-educated woman. She wouldn't swear, but it is very liberating. If you do find out that you've lost all of your money and you're alone in a room, it is conceivable that you would use the F word. It was very liberating.
So lastly, what does the title The Good Fight mean to you and mean to your character?
I think it means at any point in your life, you may have to begin again and redefine your life and redefine what's important to you. And you may have to start up again and fight a good fight. And in terms of the age we are living in now, women have to continue a good fight. We thought we had reached, we thought we were going to break a glass ceiling. You know, it didn't happen. There's not going to be a woman president putting her hand on the Bible on the 20th of January, and women will have to continue. Not that it would have everything would have been solved with a female president, but it would have symbolically, as well as I think practically, meant a lot of really good changes for women. It seems now women are going to have to continue a good fight and find the energy to fight a good fight. Everybody in the country, everybody in the world will have to figure out how, with the mess that we're in on so many levels, globally and internationally and nationally, we still have to fight a good fight. So I think it's a wonderful title.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming by and
Thank
chatting
you.
with us. And remember, The Good Fight debuts on February 19th on CBS All Access. We'll be right back with Rose Leslie. See you soon. Thank
See
you.
Bye.